Hey everybody, and welcome to a special holiday-themed episode of Side Quest, the shows we put out when we don't have a game to play on this particular week. I am Drew Hayes, and joining me today are Rick Gualteri and Steve Wetherill.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Ho ho ho.
Ho 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 indeed.
As you might imagine around the holidays, not that easy to get everybody together. So you are welcome for this gift of their presence. But as for me, I'm always here. When they turn off the podcast, I just wait with my headset on for the next one.
You weren't here while we were busy bukkake the Queen for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I had some dairy. Yeah,
so did she.
Yeah. Oh, I listened to that episode. I want to be very clear. I am fully caught up, and I'm really glad I missed that one because I would have been catching all of Steve's pop culture references, but it was so much better with him just hanging there.
That was a lonely time for me.
Oh, man. Well, as I said, we were doing sort of a holiday theme. This is the one that's coming out before Christmas, so we're, trying to stay somewhat seasonally on point. And to start things off with the bonus action, we want to talk about the surprise present that everybody got this week. Well, this week to us, probably later for you when you're listening. The Avengers 4 trailer has dropped. If you have not watched it yet, go watch it because we're going to be talking about it, obviously.
And if you don't consider this a present, then obviously you are a soulless Grinch.
Actually, what I love about the Marvel trailers is they're the only trailers that I'm comfortable watching right now. I've sort of gotten burned out on knowing every detail of every movie before I go see it, and so I've really been trying to actively avoid trailers and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the one exception I'll make is I always trust Marvel because they have proven that they will lie to my face in a trailer to preserve the integrity of a story. Yeah. And I'm great with that. I don't want the details. Yeah. Give me the gist. Give me the emotional core. That's all I want.
There's a real tendency at a minute to try and cram as much of the movie into the trailer as possible to the point where I'm not going to pay for your movie now. I've seen all the best bits.
Yeah.
Whereas kind of Marvel's got, I guess, that pre-guaranteed interest, and it can afford to be a little bit more of a tease.
Yeah. Trust us. There'll be a Captain America, Iron Man bro hug in Infinity War. We wouldn't lie.
I'm a little bit amazed if they weren't Marvel and if they weren't like going for the world record hype machine shit. It would be such a fucking move if they just dropped it no trailer. Just lemonade that shit.
They could do it.
Yeah.
They're probably the only people who could.
Yeah, right now they're the only ones who could. Star Wars arguably, like maybe right after Force Awakens could have pulled that off. But man, yeah, if Marvel just said, "Hey, Infinity Wars 2 this day," I mean, they still would have just destroyed everybody else in the theater. Like it still would be $1 billion movie.
Somebody should draft that idea to Ryan Reynolds if they ever do Deadpool 3. The entire trailer is just like 2 seconds, just flashes up. Just come see the fucking movie.
Well, I mean, that's actually a great one to talk about, though. Deadpool also did the move of straight up lying to your face about what this movie was going to be about. And they did it not for story integrity, but for joke integrity. They preserved what is, I would say, inarguably the most ambitious joke I have seen in a movie probably ever, but definitely in the last few decades, is that whole Deadpool thing. That whole bit with the trailer and the switch, and I'm really trying to speak vaguely because I know it's still a little bit out there for some people, but like, what is a more ambitious joke than that?
Are you talking about Deadpool 1 or 2?
2, okay. Definitely 2.
Because I'm going to say 1 I thought was pretty cool because some of the movie trailers and posters did try to play it off as like, a heartwarming story of a man battling cancer and like, for love.
I remember that.
That was good. But I mean, okay, we're just going to have to spoil it. We're going to have to talk about Deadpool 2 a little bit in relation to trailers. But
you haven't seen it yet. It's your own fucking fault.
It's on. They made a kid-friendly version already. Like it's been out. Yeah. We're past the point. Yeah. You've been spoiler warned.
Yeah. And if your kids are listening to our podcast, you're a horrible parent. So
yeah. There's a great joke in it. The thing I love is the whole X team or whatever, X Force. Mm-hmm. I didn't read comics in that long. Now I'm gonna get fucking savaged. But the whole team up thing was heavily marketed, and then when it actually came, it was just an extended joke of them killing everybody off because nobody was actually good at what they did.
And it was easily the best part of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
That was it wasn't even that. They all got killed off because Deadpool was a terrible leader.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That
was
really worked.
it, yeah.
In leading up to one of the best cameos in in recent movie history.
Oh, yeah. Because that cameo was almost a condensed version of the entire joke. It was, look at this shit that we know you would absolutely love an entire movie of. Anyway, moving on.
That's the thing. Characters like Shatterstar, I mean, for the 90s, they're fairly A-tier guys. And they killed them in such disposable ways.
There was no respect shown whatsoever.
No, none at all.
Now, whether you liked that gag or not, that's why I didn't say the best joke or the most effective joke. I can absolutely stand on a hill and fight to the death on. That has got to be one of the most ambitious jokes a movie has ever committed to.
To put all that in the trailer, to really commit to it in the trailer, and then just dispose of them literally in about, 2 minutes of screen times, these big name, recognizable dudes, playing recognizable, for the most part. You know, I know who Shatterstar is. I'm not a big comics nerd, but it's like, oh, Shatterstar. Wow, that'll be interesting. No, it won't. I mean,
Terry Crews's Bedlam. Oh, I'm super into that. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I know. I was, if I had to admit, there was one part I was looking forward to. I was like, all right, I want to see what Terry Crews can do. I guess I won't be. Guess I'll wait for his next movie.
And that was the thing. These weren't like shitty castings. These were characters and people that people wanted to see. Wow, I love that we've turned Avengers into Deadpool trailer talk.
yeah, that's the ultimate fuck you.
Yeah, but it is related because to talk about trailers, you have to talk about the risks of watching trailers in relation to the story and how Marvel might be one of the few who's actively taking steps to mitigate those concerns.
Yeah, because if you think about it, they gave us no story whatsoever in that trailer.
Yeah,
but
I am thankful for it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you came. That's the way to do a trailer. You gave us no story, but you came. You that second that trailer is done, you're like, why the fuck isn't this movie out yet?
You know what I loved about it most is that Infinity War. I don't know. Everybody thought Infinity War was. We tend to get a bit complacent about superhero movies now. I thought even Age of Ultron, which was arguably the weakest definitely the weakest Avenger movie, one of the weaker Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. But seeing all those superheroes on screen and done so well, it's kind of like to watch that and go, yeah, that just kind of, that's just how spoiled we are. So Infinity War, even if you didn't like the movie, the sheer scale of what was going on and to be able to fit that into a coherent movie, I thought was like a massive feat.
Unlike, say, Justice League.
Let's not go there, Rick.
Yeah, honestly, do we have to dunk on DC? DC does a pretty good job.
We need to do Justice League as an at the movies in 2019.
We're going to have to do that when I am not in Texas, because I am not going to be in a remotely sober state of mind if we're doing fucking Justice League. I've watched that once, and I truly just sat there, eyes open going, oh man, I really thought it couldn't get worse after Batman versus Superman. To be fair, that's not fair. Justice League is not as bad as Batman versus Superman. Oh, wow. Wet dog shit isn't as bad as Batman versus Superman.
I really like Justice League when it looked like Superman was just going to kill everyone, but then he didn't, and it went downhill.
It had some moments. Yeah, Ezra Miller was great.
The point I was making about Infinity War is that ending, it's kind of, I didn't see that coming. I went into Infinity War thinking, they'll probably kill Captain America. They'll probably retire Tony Stark. I did not think there were a lot of people who died in that movie. Well, I say die, but it's Marvel deaths, let's be fair, who I was not expecting. So I came out, I was like, wow, that was some gutsy moves.
It was ballsy.
Yeah, but I was expecting the next trailer to be kind of like, all right, we've had our moment of grimdark, all your heroes are dead. The next trailer is going to be, how do we bounce back from this? But what does the trailer open on? Well, I'm Tony Stark, and I'm dying alone in space. Bye. Well, that was brilliant. Here's where the instillers of hope. What have you got for me, trailer? Oh, Hawkeye's back. Brilliant.
Hey, there was one shining beacon of hope, and it was Ant-Man.
Yeah. That is true.
But it's like, but the way Marvel does things, you got to wonder. It's like, okay, are they gonna like, because the obvious thing with like, with Tony Stark is, oh, hey, Captain Marvel saves him at the last minute. But like, at this point, like, they've thrown enough monkey wrenches in it that you almost might think she might show up 2 minutes too late or something.
It's truly, we'll have to see how Captain Marvel plays out, because that's, I think, where Captain Marvel ends is going to at least tell us a little bit about where Captain Marvel, the character, will be in Infinity Wars.
No, it won't. It takes place 20 years ago.
Right. But like, if she's like, I'm going to go explore space for the next few decades, bye, then we'll be like, okay, so she's in space ambiguously right now. That's why she hasn't been around.
What would be great if the Captain Marvel movie is a really great movie and she does go after, I'm off to save space. So we all think, oh, she's going to rescue Tony Stark. And then she like turns up, knocks on his window. Oh, don't worry, I'll rescue you. And then the head just gets obliterated by a bit of random space rock. I mean, that would be unexpected. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying.
Given Captain Marvel's relative power level, that's going to be one motherfucker of a rock.
They just pull a Deadpool on it.
So I've got one for you. And honestly, this wasn't part of my original question, but I sort of thought of it while we were talking. If you had to take a swing at what part of the trailer you think isn't real, which part would you pick? And I'll start things off to give you guys a second to think, since I'm springing this on you. I don't think the Scott Lang scene is real. I'm realizing now, like, as I was like, oh, that was so great. And then I stopped and I was like, it's not going to happen. That definitely is not how they're going to meet Scott Lang. He's like trapped in the multiverse. I don't know. I know there's a lot of fan theory about Ant-Man and the quantum realm and time travel being the thing that goes back. And that feels a little obvious, but truth be told, if it does play out straightforwardly, I'm fine with that, because again, I've had to go in with the whole fuck, I don't know what's real and what's not. But if I had to pick one, I feel like him showing up in a van, that feels a little too easy to buy right off the bat from where we've been coming from.
It feels very convenient for a trailer joke.
Yeah.
Not so useful for a movie joke. Even like Captain America saying, oh, is this a recording? It just seems a bit... That works for a trailer. In a movie, not so much. So I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think everything else in the trailer seems fairly legit.
Yeah, because it's an early trailer. I mean, it's really... I don't know if I would call it even a full trailer as much as just a teaser trailer.
It was like 2 minutes. I mean, it was a trailer.
Yeah.
We've become so spoiled.
Yeah.
As an audience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting is I've been watching a lot of old action movies, and some of that entails watching the previews to see, like, okay, is this going to be tolerable, or do I really need to crack a beer? And man, I have to say, it is funny how far we've come in terms of trailer spoiler culture, because straight up trailers used to just tell you the entire fucking plot. In narration, beat by beat. Really going for it.
Come see Luke Skywalker as he defeats Darth Vader by blowing up the Death Star.
Will Superman save the world? Yes!
The sophistication of movie audiences has moved on remarkably since then, that we understand a lot of movie shorthand now. And it can just convey a lot without really saying anything.
It also has to do with the competence of the marketing department, because there are trailers out there that spoil the shit out of what's going on. And then I remember then others, they get you to want to see the movie. Like, I remember going into the first Matrix, I had no idea what the fuck that movie was about, other than the trailer looked cool. And as a result, I had it caught me completely by surprise, and I was like, this is awesome.
I remember going into the cinema and watching that for the first time, and everyone was blown away. And the bit where he's in the training simulation and they first do their kung fu poses. I mean, this was back before, in a kind of lull where kung fu wasn't mainstream, and people like started laughing. They didn't understand what was going on. Of course, by the end of it, they were like, oh yeah, kung fu is cool. I've missed this since the 70s. But they didn't know what to do. They had no understanding of what was happening, because the trailer didn't have any kung fu in it at all.
Yeah, I forgot like how interesting, because the Matrix trailers straight up didn't tell you. That was part of the marketing, is you can't be told what the Matrix is, you have to be shown.
Yeah.
And I remember that distinctly. That was both a tagline of the film and like a thing really heavily in the marketing. Because then when we finally watched it, I watched that go, that was a good movie, but you absolutely could have told me what the Matrix was.
Yeah, I mean, if they told me that the Matrix is just kicking the shit out people in really interesting ways for 90 minutes, I would have been down with that. But, I appreciate the effort.
Well, honestly, if they had told me what The Matrix is, if they had basically tried to play it off as some kind of like hackers remix of oh, well, there's a bunch of computer shit, I probably wouldn't have gone and seen it.
No, it was good marketing. From a marketing perspective, it was the smart move. It opened a question. It's interesting. Sometimes the hiding stuff from the trailer though does work against you. Did either of you guys see Colossal last year?
Yes.
So I don't know if you watched the trailer. The trailer really does not give away what the core story of Colossal is about.
No.
Yeah. And I don't want to necessarily say what it is, because part of the reason it works so well is because you don't see it coming. And not in like a hacky twist way, but in a way that it's building on real human emotions and real human blind spots, and it truly is a very interesting film that's worth seeing. But a lot of people did not see it because from the previews, it kind of just looks like, okay, that's neat, throw it away.
Oh, I got one, and I'm more than happy to spoil it. That I think is a good one. Bridge to fucking Terabithia.
Oh, that's a fucking. You can spoil that. That's a play, man. That's old school.
Here's a whimsical trailer with magic and stuff and blah, blah. And by the way, we're not going to tell you that we're going to kill one of the main characters halfway through it and turn it into this horrible tragedy of human suffering and make you hate yourself for watching this.
By the way, kids, magic isn't real, but death is. Yeah. Death is real.
Yeah. And sometimes your death is caused because you have shitty friends.
You know what's worse than watching that movie? Watching that play be performed by kids to kids.
Oh God! Oh, that's two forms of child abuse in one.
Dark side of theater, people.
Just remember, sometimes when little Billy ditches you because he wants to fuck the teacher, you're gonna die.
I like to call it the preemptive My Girl. It really got you ready.
Preemptive My Girl. Oh, Jesus.
I hadn't read Bridge to Terabithia, and I didn't know the story. So when I watched that, I was just on HBO, and I was like, all right, fine, I'm in the mood for something whimsical. And I watched it, and I just came out of there, and I was just like, yeah, maybe I should pour myself a drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's fuck that whole story.
The book's not even a thing over here. So I was just like, I just wanted to watch a movie with my kids, something that's this will have it's got magic, it's got whimsical tales of friendship. We don't even have the book over here. They didn't warn me. And I was like, what do you think about that, kids? They just stared into the middle distance.
We have seen the abyss, Father.
And that was the day their childhood ended.
Then my children grew up.
They both got jobs and started smoking cigarettes the next day.
No, Father, we will not watch another movie with you ever.
We're done with the frivolity.
I mean, the thing about Colossal was, it was a good movie, but it wasn't the good movie I was expecting. I was expecting a different kind of good movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was going to be a lot more fun and silly. But
that punch is sort of necessary for what it's doing.
Yeah. Whereas Bridge to Terabithia is just...
not so much.
Somebody giving you some cotton candy and then stabbing you, basically.
Cotton candy full of razor blades.
Not even that. I mean, you look through the cotton candy, and it's like, the cotton candy seems legit. And then they just stab you in the gut with a switchblade.
Oh, man. So I guess for the Avengers trailer kind of wrap up, do we have any final thoughts? I mean, is anybody not going to go see the shit out of it? Because I think we're all pretty in agreement on that one.
You know what? My daughter is not interested in superhero movies at all. I took her to see Infinity War, and she came out with this look on her face like, wow, holy shit. I didn't realize that, the stakes could get that grim in a movie. It really kind of had an effect.
Yeah.
It was great when we all were kind of blown away by it. So, I'm definitely watching it, yeah. Even if it is just 90 minutes of Tony Stark dying in space.
My middle son is a sick fuck. I came out, I was like, Connor, what's your favorite part of the movie? He started giggling. He's like, the ending when he snapped his fingers. Like, you sick fuck. Although to answer your question, Drew, not to speak ill of those not here, but I bet Bevan's not going to see it.
That's fair. We put together this big A&D outing where we all go, and then just Bevan's drinking a beer at the movie bar.
So what'd you think of that movie? I didn't give a shit.
Yeah. It's like, no, I wanted to hang out with my friend, but fuck that. 2-hour head start.
He snapped his fingers, and all these people I didn't give a shit about disappeared.
So the moral of the story is buy your tickets now for the Authors and Dragons viewing party. Oh, God. That is a joke. For now. Oh, okay. So we are wrapped up on Avengers. And speaking of wrapping things, such as wrapping presents, I'm doing my best, man. It's hard to
killing
find
it with the segues, man.
Yeah.
Loving this.
Working hard. But, since we're talking about wrapping and presents and the holidays, I believe Christmas is directly applicable to all of us. But, of course, whatever you celebrate, we hope you're having a wonderful time with people you love. So, for us, I think we're going to talk about some favorite Christmas moments from life, growing up, childhood, basically the most interesting shit that happened. We might not tell you about a deeply emotional present that moved us to tears and convinced us to finally give up our interdimensional hopping ways and settle down to become a drunk writer. But, we'll tell you fun stuff.
I would add a disclaimer there, Drew. Unless you enjoy celebrating human sacrifice or something like that, in which case you're a terrible person.
No, I don't know.
I mean, are they sacrificing, like, insurance salesmen?
Yeah, it depends on the human, You're disparaging my pagan heritage there, right? This country was built on human sacrifice, I'll have you know.
I think we talked last time about traditions, like specifically if, we had some stuff. I've talked about White Christmas, eggnog, the Italian food. But just to sort of kick us off, is there any sort of holiday tradition that you and your family have that we haven't already covered? Something that might have just not fit under the umbrellas we talked about?
No, I mean, I would consider, and this is, now we're in the internet age, this is always a silly thing to say, but I would consider my Christmas experiences to be bog standard. Family shows up, you eat a massive meal. Oh, you open presents first, you eat a massive meal, everybody gets a bit shit-faced and falls asleep in front of the telly. And I would assume that's universal, but it's a wide world we live in. It might not be.
Well, you've skipped midnight mass, so you've already torn a big chunk out for a lot of us who grew up with the more religious families.
Oh, we were far too lazy for that. I think when I used to go to the private school, I think my family tried that to fit in with the guys once, and we all thought, same working. So I'd much rather just be watching reruns. No offense, midnight mass people, but it just wasn't for the Weverils.
We kind of waffled on religion growing up. There were times my parents were religious, times they weren't, times they flipped to a different one. So I had a mix of having to go to church midnight mass, having to go to church on Sunday, not having to go to church for Christmas at all. And yeah, so far in my adult life, I have generally favored the not going to church at all method for Christmas time. For a while, I went with the family, but at a certain point, I reached the age where I was like, you know what? No, I'm just not pretending.
Yeah, I know we really haven't. I mean, we tried for a while there. I know my wife wanted to have one of the kids baptized in a friend's church, but in order to have that done, we had to pretend to go to that friend's church, and that we kept that up for maybe 2 weeks, and then we were just like, no, we got what we needed out of you. We don't need you anymore.
In my country, when we were growing up, we don't have the intrinsic separation of church and state that you guys have. So there was always small c Christianity in the schools. I don't think it's the same anymore. It could almost be guaranteed that the school would put on a nativity play, and everybody would turn up and awkwardly sing inoffensive songs about Jesus being a nice guy, and the kids would pretend to be heavily pregnant Middle Eastern lady, and so yeah, we kind of had just low level religious flavor to it anyway. I'm fine with that. It's all tradition,
I just don't like waking up early or staying up late.
No, yeah, I mean, if you're going to ask me to put any conscious effort into it, I'm sorry, but my apathy is going to damn me quickest of all. So.
Plus, who's still sober on Christmas Eve for midnight mass at this point?
Unfortunately, I have to can alcohol in my house, for due to certain family members visiting. So sadly, I am.
Rick has a secret bottle of cooking sherry that's really vodka. He's just seeing him off oh god.
Well, it's funny. It's like Usually right before the holidays, we wind up going on a mad alcohol hiding spree. And then and then usually about 5 years later, I'll be like going through some cabinet I haven't opened down in the cellar, and like, and I'll open up and be like, where'd that bottle of scotch come from?
That actually sounds really festive. I like the idea. That hide the booze, hide the booze.
Boy, you are making it really easy on your kids to sneak booze if they want.
I'll tell you what, I come from a small English, half Scottish town with English, half Scottish, I guess, relatives. Booze is like a big part of who we are. And we used to go out on Christmas Eve. You kind of go out on Christmas Eve and get smashed. The pub opens for a bit on Christmas Day. So there's always a few hours to go to the pub, get a bit smashed. That's kind of traditional. I think this year, as we've been doing for the last maybe 3 or 5 years, we do a village pub crawl in the days leading up to Christmas Eve. Yeah, booze is still a very large part of the Christmas experience for most people I know.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I would not mind it in the least. Like especially
Well, not specifically booze. I mean, going out to the pub.
Oh.
That's still kind of a community thing. Not as much these days because, alcohol kills you and all that boring crap. But yeah, certainly when I was younger, definitely if you didn't go to the pub around Christmas time, it was a big cultural loss.
See, it's less fun here because, well, when we were still talking to my wife's family, they lived in Brooklyn, and let me tell you, going into Brooklyn on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day is just not fun. So just the concept of getting on the Staten Island Expressway, even on a good day, and trust me, Christmas Eve is not a good day. It just takes all like I wouldn't care if they were like free. There's like all you can drink margaritas and like served by strippers. It takes the fun out of it. Mind you, that probably would have been a little weird for a family gathering, but
Yeah, that was a bold choice. We were waiting to see where you were going to go.
Yeah, I like where you went.
What I'm saying is, as a New Jersey guy, you could put a pile of money at the end of the Staten Island Expressway and you still wouldn't make it worth the trip.
Damn.
Well, there's a conversation I was having with Bevan when he came to visit us in England, and it's not as there's a little bit of culture that's kind of dying off in Britain. But what we used to have was the local, and if you're in a village or a small town, I'm not sure if it's the same for cities, but everybody would kind of have a local. There wasn't much else to go, so you went to the local pub. So around Christmas time, that's what everybody did. So you'd see everybody in the village or everybody in your neighborhood. So that was kind of, you could drink and not fight anyone. It was good. But yeah, I don't know if that translates to big cities, even in England. I have no experience of that.
I can't think of hearing too many things like that here. Once again, even when we actually speak with extended family members, these days Christmas is much quieter.
So in the South, Steve, it's sort of similar to yours, or I suppose I should say in my respective area of the South and the culture I grew up in. There is definitely a lot of booze on Christmas Eve. It's not necessarily a focus. We don't go to a bar. It's a lot more sort of a communal thing. You'll go to whoever the biggest, matriarch, patriarch of your family is, whoever's hosting that year. You go to their house. Tons of food, tons of booze, tons of sweets for the kids to sugar rush and then sugar crash themselves out so the adults can relax. And just sort of that old school sitting around, making food, eating, drinking, and some sort of football or movie that is thematically appropriate. It's a big eating, drinking culture down here, but more home-based than bar-based. And I think that's frugality more than anything else.
One thing about our get-togethers that used to piss me off. This is going to just evolve into why Rick hates Christmas things, but are
you pulling the Bevan on this one?
Well, no. Like here's the thing. I'm a firm believer with Christmas time. It's better to like give than receive. But at the same time, is there anything that sucks worse than receiving a shitty gift that nobody put any fucking thought into? And that was like my wife's family. We'd go over there for like Christmas Eve, and there'd be big gift exchanges. You know, some years we do a Secret Santa, some years we wouldn't. And every year it'd be like, oh, everybody got a lot of good shit. And I remember one year we did a Secret Santa. I opened mine and I was like, wow, it's a robe. It's a woman's robe. It's a woman's robe.
And it was the best Christmas present.
I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Now, that would be top tier gift giving if your wife gave that to you and then took it for herself. That's just playing the marriage.
Yes. No. This was a lazy ass cousin just regifting something, you know, without bothering to realize. Oh, by the way, you got Rick, not his wife.
But you got the gift of a humorous story. And isn't that the greatest gift of all?
The gift of bitterness.
Oh, man. So in terms of great fun Thanksgiving moments, I do have one I have to talk about because it's one of my favorite life moments.
That holiday's past.
Ah, fuck it. Christmas. We have been recording so much holiday content so frequently.
Like the Queen's still busy wiping her face off.
Yeah, it's just all burned together in my head. I have a good Christmas one. I'm not sure if I've told this on the podcast or not before. If so, apologies for the repeat. So I was working a job in a different state, up in New Orleans. And one of my coworkers decides that she wants to take all of us who are hanging out, because it was sort of a second college. We were all working remotely, like away from home and friends and like people we knew. So we, became fast friends. And so she rented a limo, like a stretch limo, to drive us around for a few hours and go look at Christmas lights. Fun idea. Great time. Except we decided to power hour before that. So that was probably mistake number one. And then during this time, Pinnacle Whipped had kind of just come out. So we were all about just keeping straight Pinnacle Whipped on ice at all times. And we did that in the limo. And here's a fun fact. If you spend an hour drinking straight vodka after a power hour, lights don't hold your interest as much as you might expect.
I'm expecting this story to end with, and I was the sole survivor.
This is, I consider this probably one of my most quintessentially New Orleans stories.
Quintessentially.
So, after an hour of driving around, drinking, looking at lights, we all, A, have to pee, and B, we're kind of too drunk for lights. So we decide, fuck it, shot tour. So we just go on a bar crawl. We hit a bunch of places. The limo drops us off. Everybody goes home. Truthfully speaking, that night itself was a lot of fun, but I don't consider it remarkable. What was remarkable was like 2 or 3 days later, when me and a couple of friends walked into a bar, the bartender looks up, looks at us and goes, "You guys." And we're like, what the fuck? He's like, so he proceeds to tell us, he's like, "Man, I have been bartending in this town for 20 years. That was the drunkest I've seen a group of people that were still capable of functioning." It's like, you guys weren't even talking. You were just putting money on the bar and pointing at what you wanted. We just all collectively devolved into pantomime. Now, I don't know how reliable the narrator on this is, of course, because I don't remember any of this shit. But I think my favorite part is still that I was telling this to a friend the next day. Going, ha ha, and we were so drunk we were putting money and pointing, and wait a minute, that means he still served us. Without missing a beat, my buddy's like, "Hey, it's New Orleans and you put money down."
Hey, whoa. Yeah, let's not have any of this blaming the bartender.
No, it was just a funny, like, holy shit, we were nonverbal. It's like, yeah, man, this is New Orleans and you had cash.
It's like, live or die, I got your money.
Yeah. So that was a fun Christmas moment for me.
That sounds like a fun Christmas moment.
Yeah, it does.
I do like that. Yeah, I don't really have any. I've never gone proper mental at Christmas time. Oh yeah, well, there was the one Christmas Eve I went out and went on to flavored vodkas, and we just kind of got this new stock of flavored vodkas in, and we were out on Christmas Eve, and we decided to drink one of every flavor. And man, I got so drunk. Just started. I was so drunk, it was like being high. Started ranting about the spiral shape of the universe, and it's kind of like, I embarrassed myself in front of some close friends. But close friends, because you wake up the next day, or a couple of days after, because we had a Christmas break. You say, I was talking some shit to you the other night, wasn't I? They're like, yeah, Merry Christmas, Steve. It's a heartwarming Christmas moment when you realize you can spend hours screaming about the intrinsic shape of the universe into your friend's face, and they'll forgive you.
That is truly a Christmas themed lesson.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have anything good like that, because even during, like, my college days, college, like, gets out around there, and of course, like, you have to go home, and then, like, the fun, like, I think spending the holidays over at college would have been fun as fuck, but going home was just kind of like not. Leaving for Christmas break was more like okay, so I got 2 weeks before I can come back here.
You know what? I'm always kind of like talking smack about my town, but I always used to love coming home. So much so, I'd take people from college home with me, and they'd stay with me like over the holidays and stuff. And I really liked. There was this one time, and it felt like a sitcom. It was before the smoking ban came in, so you could just sit in a pub, and that was it. And that's basically what we did on a Christmas Eve, doing what I enjoy, which is being around the people I love to be around and just drinking for a long time until everybody starts talking nonsense and screaming about the intrinsic shape of the universe. And then we all went outside because it was closing time, and it had been snowing. And my whole village, which is kind of a chocolate box village anyway, it's kind of a very old buildings, it's very hobbit town, which is covered in snow. And we're kind of tramping back in the snow and thinking, man, this is Christmas as fuck. That was a good time. That is one of my fonder Christmas memories, which combined all the things I like about the holiday season: getting drunk, screaming about the intrinsic shape of the universe, and the festive spirit.
Sounds like a lovely memory.
It was a lovely memory. It just kind of occurred to me as we were talking about this. I used to kind of hang around with my sister, my older sister, and my older brother, and my younger sister, and all their friends. So it's kind of a good mix of people, but we all had in common, as most people in working class British towns do, the thing we like to do is just go into a pub, get hammered, and talk shit. But we did that like in a Christmas orientated environment. So yeah, it was nice.
Well, I'll bring us down again.
Oh, come on, Rick.
So this one year, I remember when I was a little kid, I got this was a good Christmas because I got that Shogun Warriors Godzilla figure that they had in the 80s, and it was just the best thing. I mean, it was big. It was made of hard plastic. You could like beat somebody to death with it like a hammer. It was just an awesome toy. And I remember the next year they came out with a Rodan figure to go with it. Now I had never seen it in the toy store, but like it apparently existed. And I remember just bugging the shit out of my parents about this because they knew I loved all things Godzilla, monster movies and shit. And I was like, I have to have this so Godzilla and Rodan can fight. And I remember underneath the Christmas tree, there was a box that was the exact same size as the Rodan box, or what I thought the Rodan box would be. And I was just like, yes, that is it. It is going to be the best Christmas ever. And then I opened it up and it was a Hot Wheels carrier.
Oh, God. I don't know why that's worse than whatever I thought it would be, but it is.
It wasn't even a toy. It was just like, here's something to put your stupid Hot Wheels, which you don't even have that many, because I didn't like Hot Wheels.
Here's an organizational tool for your toy.
You know that toy that you don't really like? Well, here's a tool to tidy it up.
Yeah.
That is a tough one. I'm trying to think back to like childhood ones. I mostly remember for a little while we used to do like a family ski trip yearly. We would pile into the car and drive up to a mountain, and I think once twice we flew, but it was nice. We would they would all get with friends, and so everybody would split the cost of a condo and we'd pile in to make it affordable, and it was a lot of fun. But I'm looking back and realizing like how many Christmas seasons I spent around adults who were at least a little bit drunk. With wooden boards slapped to their feet, skiing down mountains at breakneck speeds, and very few of us were actually qualified or capable of what we were doing.
I gotta imagine,
it's often like looking back, like, wow, how did I survive all this?
It's like, come on, little Drew, sit on my shoulders. We're gonna go down the Black Diamond.
Yeah, dude, my left knee is still fucked up from a bad spill I took when I hit a patch of ice and wiped out.
My dad was one of those it'll be fine dads as well. Yeah. It often wasn't, but my dad had a fucking helicopter license. I look back on that and think, yeah, I really could have died. There's no way on earth my dad should have had a helicopter license.
I actually, okay, I do have a good ski memory. I had an aunt who was very famous. She had a bad fall on her first run, and not like hurt herself, but just had a bad one. We're going to call her Aunt Crash because I do avoid using the names of actual people who can be Googled around me.
It's a cool name as well.
Yeah. So Aunt Crash had that bad one, and from then on, she was the slowest, steadiest turtle in the race. Everybody else is like getting to the end of a green. We look back, Aunt Crash is just up there, da 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 da, big wide turns, don't hit anybody. Like
I like her style, to be fair.
Yeah, but we did that like first year, all right. By like year 3, Aunt Crash is still running this same game. She was the most notorious thing is if she got to the slope and would look down, she would just pop her skis off and walk it if she didn't like it.
Again, I'm liking Aunt Crash.
Aunt Crash was like, I'm gonna bury all you motherfuckers.
Yeah, like as a kid, I was like, man, she goes like really slow. So me and like the other young ones would like speed way ahead than the adults. And now that I'm older, I'm like, God, she was right every fucking time. All you motherfuckers are gonna break an ankle.
And every one of those motherfuckers did. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
And Crash was like, come tomorrow, I'll still be walking, assholes.
Actually, I did learn an important life lesson via those ski trips, because we had a friend of the family fall and break. I can't remember if it was like a rib or something in their foot, but they did it standing in line for the lift.
I would imagine breaking a rib in their foot might be difficult.
It's a rib or I don't know. I can't remember what. They landed, they hit something weird. They were out. Like that was the end of their ski trip. And they were literally just standing still in line and they slipped and fell over. And that was my lesson of, you know what? If you're going to get injured doing something cool.
Yeah.
Take the risks because at least you want a good story.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, getting mauled to death by a grizzly might suck, but you know something people will be talking about for years to come.
I think it was R.K. Milholland who said that if he ever got diagnosed with like a terminal disease, his game plan was to strip naked, take a high-heeled shoe, and wander out into the forest to find the biggest, meanest grizzly bear he can. Because 99% chance he's going to die. But he's like, but at least I know I'm going to be the weirdest thing that bear has ever fucking dealt with. He's like, and if I win, holy shit, what a legend to leave behind.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate that. I mean, I'd do the same thing, but all I have to fight in the woods near me are glue sniffers. But, you can go out. Local man destroys glue sniffers with high-heel shoe, or, local man destroyed by glue sniffers holding high-heeled shoe. Either way, it's a better headline.
I'd read either of those articles.
Yeah.
This is the start of Nude High-Heeled Man,
Yep.
Steve's alter ego.
Nude high-heeled man confounds glue sniffers in woods.
He's like, Steve, what's going on? He's like, I don't know, man. Well, for whatever reason, when I strip naked and wield a shoe, I can't lose a fight.
It's how I'm going out.
10 years later, war was in dangerously close. Thankfully, naked high-heel shoe man was dispatched onto the scene.
And here in AP, we have footage of naked high-heel men punching out Hitler for liberty.
It's like, how do you do it? And Steve's generally like, I truly don't know how this works.
I mean, how can that be explained? Maybe some things shouldn't be explained.
I think any explanation would take away from the magic that is naked high-heel shoe man. Yes. Holy shit, this is a Christmas episode, right?
Yeah. Well, I like to think that we're talking about a Christmas miracle right here.
And we started off
that
talking
would
about
be a
superheroes.
Christmas miracle.
We started off with superheroes, so.
Yeah.
And isn't Jesus the original superhero? Well, maybe not the original. I mean, he was probably like Silver Age in religious terms, at least.
Yeah, but he was born. He wasn't going out and and it's like, hey,
he didn't make the decision.
Jesus, get out of your manger. There's crime to be solved.
I'm not gonna lie. I would watch Sherlock Jesus.
Oh, did you guys ever watch? Oh Christ! It was the guys from Peep Show used to have a sitcom called That Mitchell and Webb Look, and there was a sketch they did called BMX Bandit and Angel Summoner. And BMX Bandit was a superhero who was super good on the BMX, and he was like, and he teamed up with Angel Summoner. And they'd be sitting there, and BMX Bandit would go, "Okay, I'm going to take out the bad guys. I'm going to use my BMX skills to sneak up on him, and then like whack him with my back wheel, and then we're going to get through the door." And Angel Summoner would be like, "Well, you could do that, or I could just summon an army of invisible angels to carry all the bad people away and rescue the hostage." Says, I forgot at what point I was making. I thought, yeah, that's kind of the situation we're talking about here. Jesus isn't a good superhero for the same reason that Batman and Superman team ups aren't good. If he teams up with anyone, it's not going to be an interesting story. It's just going to be Jesus going, "Yeah, well, my dad's God," and then situation resolved.
I don't know. I think you could throw together a pretty good Heroes for Hire knockoff with Samson and Jesus. Because you got Samson, who's all might all the time, and then you got Jesus, who's like, couching, like, "Hey, let's talk this out. Let's work it through, man."
I think it would be best if Samson was just bitter all the time because he has to do all the work, and Jesus just sitting there turning water to wine and just getting shit-faced.
You're right. This is more about personalities than power sets. That's correct.
Yeah, you got to pick opposites that complement each other.
Samson's like beating down the bad guys. Jesus is like, they're like, talking to Mary Magdalene, be like, "Yeah, I want to eat in my body, baby."
Samson's in like a really tight spot. He's like, "Jesus, I need a hand." And Jesus is like, "Fine, I got you a Christmas present." And he throws him the jawbone of a donkey. That's a real deep cut for our actual religious listeners.
There's no reason we can't do like a DC retelling of the Bible and just make that shit awesome.
I'm 1,000% sure it has been tried and failed.
We don't give up just because an idea is terrible and has failed many times, Drew. That's not what we're about here on the Orphans and Dragons podcast.
Okay, that is not what we were about. I'll give you that. Oh, man. All right, I'm trying to think of any more favorite Christmas or fun Christmas moments.
Oh, actually, we have one here that I find fun, although I think it pisses off everybody else here. My wife, every year, she puts up her Christmas village, which is nice. She puts a lot of work into it. And then every year, I take my action figures and pose them destroying the Christmas village and take a photo and like post it up on Facebook.
You gotta have traditions. Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, I got one for a little while. When we had a big group of us all like kind of living in the same area, my friends and I would do holiday light bingo. Different than the other riding around looking at light drinking story. In this one, we're regular people driving. We don't have booze. We're older, but we're all playing holiday like decoration bingo, like inflatable Santa, somebody playing a song that syncs up to lights, reindeer of the specific type, colored light mixed with like pure white lights in a very tacky fashion. All that shit on there. And then you're all just basically playing bingo as you look at lights. That's a fun one. Yeah. So I guess it's fun if you're all a bunch of nerds like us.
Or it could be fun if like you're with like the angry old ladies who do play bingo. I got all the
go
Christmas
home and everybody
lights.
drinks and eats, so
I already know the kind of ladies you play bingo with, Rick. Nobody's interested in that. It sounds dangerous and horrible.
I'm not going to get cut with a candy cane.
I will shank you with a candy cane, motherfucker.
I will stick this elf right up your shelf.
I like that one. That's good. Keeping that one.
Steve, I mean, you have kids. Do you do we're not really doing it too much this year. I mean, we have them out, but have you ever done the elf on the shelf thing?
Yeah, I mean, my daughter's 11, but she's kind of going on 16, so she's not as interested. Yesterday, I posed the elf so it looked like it was farting into a photograph of my daughter's mouth. And I thought, that's going to get her attention, but she was kind of, just unfazed by it. And I thought, you're losing the Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
You can't find thought of the elf farting into your mouth funny, then what have I got left to instill the magic of Christmas within you?
So she's not a shingles reader, is what I'm hearing.
No, not yet. I'm going to wait till she's 12. And then they're like,
Sounds
that
like she might
opens
have
up a
already
whole raft.
gone too mature for it, to be frank. You might have missed your window.
She skipped right past that 30 years of emotional development that I'm currently going through. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
maybe.
Father, but I only read serious literature.
Oh, Father, I see the elf is currently passing gaff into a photograph of mine. Very amusing, Father.
You are quite the wit, I see.
Soon I will be gone, and I will pretend to my friends that I have no father. Yeah. It's getting increasingly depressing around Christmas time. I will tell you guys, I was looking, the toy advert came on, and it had these kids playing with like a little Lego kind of doll set. And one of the characters was a dad. And I thought, oh, little kids playing with a Lego set with a little Lego dad character. And I thought, oh, all that's gone now. My daughter is cleverer than I am. She doesn't play with Lego anymore. It's just me sitting here with my Lego sets that my daughter doesn't want to play with. And that was depressing. So that's a depressing Christmas moment for y'all.
Well, that is Christmas.
I'm going to have another kid just so I've got someone who's on my level.
Oh, God. No thanks.
Rick is out on that.
Yep, I have punched my card and waiter, check please.
Okay. Let's talk about current Christmas. So, is there any big, I don't know, gifts or items out? I don't know, maybe something that your kids really want or something that you really want. Some aspect of this Christmas that has you particularly excited, whether it be something you want to give, something you would love to get in a dream world, that sort of thing.
Again, my kids are they're very reasonable around Christmas, to be honest. They don't want anything terribly expensive. They just kind of like, my stepson in particular is kind of like, oh, I don't really need anything. I have to slap some greed into you, kid. It's not about needing stuff.
I love that. Slap some greed into you.
They're like, oh, I don't really need anything. But you know, they genuinely enjoy just, my kids are house cats. They love just hanging around. My stepson's 16, my daughter's 11. They kind of just flop in his room while he plays PlayStation and she watches, some bizarre fucking bullshit. Some guy pretending to be in a high school in Minecraft. I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't understand what pop culture is. But
you're past the point. They're no longer targeting you. You're over the horizon.
I'm looking at this guy pretending to be a high schooler in a Minecraft game. I'm thinking, well, how does this appeal to me? And then I realize with cold certainty that it doesn't, and it's too late for me. But they like hanging around. They seem very content children. I don't know if I should shake him up a bit and start burning some of their stuff. I don't know. But very content kids. So probably another easy Christmas. Getting them Smash Brothers, pretending it's for them, secretly for me. That's about it.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a boring Christmas as far as like interesting, cool stuff. Like, it's the same thing here. It's like a couple of video games. I mean, Smash Brothers. My oldest really wants Kingdom Hearts 3, but it's not coming out until January because Square Enix are a bunch of soulless, fuckers.
Oh, I'm fully on board with you. And the amount of cool video games that aren't coming out till January, fuck off, game developers.
Some of us are working their way through Smash Brothers right now, so I'm okay with taking a moment.
Smash Brothers is going to be a Christmas Day thing for me, as it should be, and not a February thing because some fucking developers got lazy with their Grinch-like faces and small coal-like hearts.
Well, that's actually the thing. Is it sucks to be like for me on Christmas because if I get some cool PlayStation game, I know I'm not going to get a chance to play it.
You know what?
And I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'll go up in my office and I don't know, cry.
You know what I got for my birthday? I got Mario Party. You know how many times I've played Mario Party? Once. I spend most of my time just watching my kids play Mario Party. But, and here's the sad thing. Sad, you know, the kind of cheeseball shit you get in all the Christmas stories. Me watching my kids argue about the fucking plumber makes me happy. So, here we go. That is my Christmas gift. To watch my kids arguing about why a plumber is better than a dinosaur.
You should play that new Mario Party game. That's fun as shit.
Oh, yeah, I had a go at it. I lost, and then I thought I temporarily wanted to kill my children, so I thought maybe I'll back off on this.
That's definitely Mario Party. Yeah, you played the right game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the new monopoly on plausible deniability on beating your family members to death.
Oh, man. All right. So for our last segment, I wanted to kind of catch you guys by surprise, have a little fun with it. We've talked a lot about holiday traditions on the last few episodes, and it has kind of come out that, like, I have some in my family, but it's not as commonplace, like, spread across us. So my question for you guys is, if you were to take logistical concerns out of the equation, so everybody can get the time off, there's enough free money to make it happen viably without overstretching your resources, what annual tradition would you love to start for your family right now? Something that you would love to do, you know, every Christmas, and, you know, maybe hopefully if your children enjoyed it, that you would like to pass on to them to keep doing.
Well, I've already explained that I'm very kind of happy with what I consider to be the typical stuff. Family getting together, eating a lot of food, drinking a lot of booze, falling asleep in front of a good movie, or some Christmas repeats. But what I really love, in England we have Boxing Day, which I don't think you guys have, which is kind of like a second Christmas because you've got leftover food and presents to give people you didn't have time to see on the actual main Christmas. So it's basically Christmas again, but maybe not as intensive. And what my mum used to get sometimes was a salmon mousse ring. I'm not a cultured man, but to me there is no finer food in the world than a salmon mousse ring. So I'd like to start a tradition.
Hold back up. What the fuck is salmon mousse?
Well, it's basically it's like a ring of salmon. I don't know how to explain this without using the word salmon mousse, but it's kind of like a very light, puffy salmon mousse encased in a skin of smoked salmon, which is my favorite food in the world. So it's basically kind of like if you had a burrito made of yummy fish, and the encasement of the burrito was also yummy fish. So basically, if you're a bear or a seal or something, this is ambrosia. But it's also my favorite food. So I'd like to start a tradition where the patriarch of the family, which is conveniently me, has to eat an entire salmon mousse ring while his family watches him do it, maybe chanting something like, salmon mousse ring, until he's finished. And then after he's finished, they all lift him up on a golden chair and carry about the room to celebrate his victory over the salmon mousse ring.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, I would participate. I would watch that. I would laugh. And then I guess when it was my day, I would, like all those who had come before me, quietly shit my pants.
Oh, yeah, definitely. On the chair. I mean, the chair would have special compartments to deal with that. And also, you know,
You burn the chair. The chair.
Be doing the children a favor as well, because, you know, after a few of these, you know, I'm a pretty tubby guy. But after a few of these salmon mousse ring challenges, I'm going to be fucking huge. So my children, they're going to be building up like vital muscles to lift me up on that chair. So I'm going to have like satisfied appetite, maximum fishiness, some shit on the chair, and some buff children.
Steve, I love it. My only suggestion would be that either you tie it to Thanksgiving or Christmas, whatever the most important meal is, whoever carves must also do the salmon mousse ring. That is, if you are the head of this family in the good times, you are the head of this family in the bad times.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds fair to me.
I'm carving the salmon moose ring, and I'm the only one eating it. Fuck you.
If you carved the Christmas turkey, then yo ass is doing the salmon moose ring. Well, Grandma, you really wanted to do it. She like sits down. I've already got diapers on. Bring it on, motherfuckers.
Salmon moose ring. Salmon moose ring. Nice. Yeah, I can see that working. For me, at least.
I would really love to put together a Christmas power hour tradition for the adults of the family. I feel like that would truly be a fun thing that I could, if I had kids, pass on to them, because alcoholism is genetic, so they'll have the same interests.
Yeah.
Honestly, truth be told, if we pull, time off, money concerns out, I would kind of like to revive the old ski trips. Even if I did it the way my parents did, of a bunch of people cramming together in one condo to keep things cheap. Yeah, like from a kid perspective, it was fun, and it was really cool that I got to see snow and interact with cold weather, because growing up in Texas, that was the one time of year that ever happened for me. And it was kind of fun living with like your family and like close friends of the family in a space for a bit. It truly would be, I think, a fun time, even knowing that I'm probably going to break some shit. I would probably resurrect that, a family ski trip with, friends, family here meaning the extended people you love, people you want to be around the holidays. I would love to do that every year in sort of the same way that I did growing up. That would be a fun one, and one that I would like to pass on to hypothetical children.
No, that generally sounds good. What would make it a little bit better is if, like, the winner of the ski competition was awarded salmon moose ring, while everyone gathered around him and chanted. But other than that,
as he skied downhill past everybody, eating salmon moose ring while there was chanting.
The best part of this is the only way you can, in any capacity, measure who won a ski trip is who is the least injured person on that ski trip at the end. So it's really just everyone like, well, some people hurt their legs, some people hurt their ribs, Jim busted a wrist, but Clarence, you didn't get hurt at all. That means your stomach's about to get fucked up.
Only you have the health and energy required to devour this entire salmon moose ring.
Oh, God.
So basically, if you win the ski trip, you lose the ski trip.
I would fuck up my other knee just to not eat that.
You guys are heathens.
I know that sounds really wholesome until you realize what I'm proposing is a bunch of, 30-year-old adults getting shit-faced and then flying around on frozen ice.
It's all part of the glorious circle of evolution.
Yeah. It truly is.
Didn't kill your ancestors, so you got to assume that at least some of you will survive.
We don't have any natural predators anymore. We've got to make up the balance of ridiculous traditions. Fortune
favors the bold, and the entire Hayes side of the family really proves that point very well. Someone's like, man, a lot of us should be dead.
Fortune favors the bold and really fucks up all those other guys.
Or you could just say, fate smiles upon fools, small children, and the Hayes clan.
I know the original one is drunks, so you didn't have to change that. What about you, Rick? Hypothetical tradition.
Hypothetical. I remember one of my favorite things, not so much growing up, because we did anything growing up, but back when I was in college, like young adult, I loved road trips. So I get to see getting like a good sized RV, maybe towing a Jeep, and just doing a Christmas road trip every year to a different location, and just making sure, since time and money is not a problem, wherever you're going, you give yourself plenty of time to get there, so you spend Christmas in a different place that you haven't been before. And honestly, this might be more fun without the kids.
I was like, I love this idea, but...
Yeah. Like my oldest can drive, so I might bring him along just to like, so it's like, I'm gonna go actually sit back and enjoy this big spacious RV while you chauffeur my ass around.
Oh man, I can't wait till my kid can drive. I am doing so many village pub crawls.
I gotta say, it is the best thing and like, cause here's the thing, driving is still new for him, so he loves it. So you can abuse the shit out of that. It's like, I really wish, I really wish I had a steak right now. Why don't you go to the store and get me one?
Yeah, that's like parent Uber, right?
It's like, I want Taco Bell right now, Dad. I really don't feel like, and I think you want to go get it for me.
What do I want for Christmas? I want you to fucking chauffeur me around while I get increasingly drunk and tell you all about my fucking politics. Merry Christmas.
Turning your children into unpaid labor, I feel it truly is the greatest Christmas present that parents are given through the years. And that feels like probably a good place to wrap things up. Oh, fuck, we almost forgot. We needed to throw to Joe for like 5 minutes at the start. Joe, are you still there? Do you have anything?
You motherfuckers!
All right, well, that was a good episode. We'll see you next time on Authors and Dragons.
Damn it!
Bye.
Merry Christmas, Joe.
Fuck you!